It's 12 noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West.
And this is Reprint.
This isn't breaking headlines. This is a second look with context added for perspective.
This is Reprint, edited after the headlines.
All right. Good morning to the West Coast and good afternoon to all my people on the East Coast. This is the Reprint. I am Christal Jordan Jennings, and I'm the editor-in-chief here at Lenox and Parker. And here, of course, good morning to the West Coast and good afternoon.
Hey, what's going on? Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties over here. I'm trying to live at the same time. Hold on a second. Okay, yeah.
All platforms going at once.
Yes.
Everybody watching on Instagram, to those watching on YouTube, to those listening on Spotify, welcome. I love this. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it, right? Thank you, Edna, for that. It is going to be a great day. Amen. That's definitely going to be a great day. This is the Monday after Super Bowl. And I assume there are some Patriots fans out there that aren't having a great day. The Seattle Seahawks actually beat the New England Patriots pretty bad. Pretty bad. Yeah, I got some friends. I got a good friend, Ronald Tricky Montgomery. I hope you are okay today. I'm sure you are. And it's Edna's birthday. Happy birthday, Edna.
Happy birthday, Edna.
Happy birthday, Edna.
Yeah. I'm a Patriots fan. I moved here from Boston, so yeah. So we've had our run, but you know what?
You guys have. That's what I'm saying. Like you can't.
I'm not even mad because there's no. Yeah, I'm not mad. I'm good. They didn't deserve to win that. It wasn't their time. We can tell the game was a game.
You guys have had it several times before, so
plenty of times. I think they have what eight or nine championships and a lot of back-to-back. So yeah, it's all good.
A little flex there, 8 or 9, a little back-to-back. We've dominated.
Yeah, I mean, we did that. But the thing is, the whole point is that you just saw the game was what 29 to 13, something like that.
Yeah.
They didn't want it bad enough. They were all over the place, were fumbling, missing. It was just a lot. Yeah, I watched some of it.
The Seahawks came like really with a lot of momentum, and they never gave up. So I mean, they never let up. So I'm not gonna lie, I was actually rooting for the Patriots, because I'm such a huge fan. But I was kind of like in first quarter, second quarter, I was like, wait a minute, the energy, from the Seahawks definitely stayed up, and they weren't able to get it back. So congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks, the 2026 Super Bowl champions. But I think more importantly, people were watching a lot of other things. The game took probably second place or even third place to some of the other things that were happening last night, and that people were watching for last night. I know we got a lot to get into today. Today is going to be our Super Bowl Monday. That we got to talk about. But is there anything that I would say for me, I was concerned that there was going to be some drama, and I'm thankful at least that there was not the drama that I thought might have happened.
No, I wasn't concerned. A lot of times with the hype, when you hear a lot of commercialized hype, like pre whatever, something never really happens. It's usually when you're caught off guard, like, oh, this happened, or he got shot, or this happened. But usually when it's like, oh, there's going to be this, there's going to be that, he's going to be wearing a dress at the Super Bowl, all this stuff, that didn't happen. None of that stuff happened. Nothing remotely happened.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. We did hear that. We did hear that there was going to be ICE agents there, and it was going to be a big thing
I
that
think
didn't
they were. I think they were outside somewhere, but I think they had protesters blocking them from coming in or something. I saw on social that way too. But it was in California, so it
yeah.
wasn't a bad place to be at. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also I do want to point out that
Mhm.
over 100 million people watched the Bad Bunny halftime. We're going to talk about that in just a bit.
100 million? Oh my
And
goodness.
because and it's funny because perspective matters, right? So I saw the headline today that said that 5 million people watched the Turning Point headline with Chris with Kid
Rock.
Kid Rock headlining it. And I was like, man, 5 million people. But then when you heard that 100 million people watched the halftime special with Bad Bunny, and it appears that President Trump did as well, because
He
he had
did,
a
of
lot
course.
to say about the halftime special, but he would not have been able to, make all those comments and those negative, accolades if he didn't watch it as well. So
He did. He watched.
One of those was President Donald Trump. So
no, he watched, because I saw a post a few minutes ago where there's a newscast guy I follow, and he showed from the party, in Donald Trump's party, he had his screen up and Bad Bunny was performing. So even though he was going to boycott, he watched. Yeah, he watched.
I love it.
Yeah.
And you know what? And all those people that followed them, he watched Bad Bunny while some of them probably tuned in and out to Kid Rock. And I assume those numbers are probably inflated as well.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. I think most people really watched.
But let me ask you this question before we get moved on, right? When Bad Bunny came on, there were a lot of young women moving, shaking, dancing. In my mind, I'm like, these old white men are not gonna want to watch this. They're gonna want to watch this.
That's true.
They're not gonna watch an old wrinkly Kid Rock on stage when you can watch young women twerking and moving and whatever, salsa, whatever. And I'm just like, I know they're watching it, because this is what they're into. You know what I'm saying? So come on, you fly to the Dominican Republic or Puerto Rico or Mexico for stuff like this. Come on, what are we talking about?
That's a good point, Victor. That's a really good point, because I heard someone say, we were watching last night. We were watching comments online, and I will say, and I was going to say this later, but the only thing I would have liked if we had captions, because I didn't really understand. I could feel, and you could feel.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't really know what was, I didn't understand the words. I don't speak Spanish, but I did know that I don't think any men of any culture or any background were upset. Any heterosexual men did not feel left out, because there were some beautiful Latina women everywhere, and dancing, and I also want to say, because one of the things that President Trump put in his diatribe when he had to try to say negative things about it on Instagram right after, was that there was all this dancing provocatively. I would love for you to point out any Super Bowl performance in the history of this country where there haven't been provocative women dancing, or beautiful women dancing provocatively. The very definition of the NFL is highly focused on cheerleaders.
Yep.
I was growing up, I remember everyone wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders dress provocatively and dance provocatively and look beautiful. And that's a part of the NFL brand, right?
Yep.
And it's women of different, it doesn't really matter about your cultural or racial background. All that matters is the standard of pretty, and beautiful, and you have to be able to dance. So I just think that's kind of hypocritical, because the whole idea of the NFL halftime special is always about beautiful women dancing, beautiful women entertaining while these titans are playing on the field. So
also to add to that, who owns the football teams? These old white men. Exactly.
Old white men.
And they're the ones that set the standard. They're the ones who hire and fire, and they control the NFL, the league, because is what it is. So
one thing, I'm not an old white man, but I have been around several, and one thing that I know I just like to say, I don't even think it as old white men. I think men, period, heterosexual men of any socioeconomic background, race, creed, country, all enjoy entertainment by beautiful women. So I don't see anything different than what happened in the performance last night than what happens every year. And also what happens just at every professional football game. There's a Netflix special on the Dallas Cowboys shows. I used to be obsessed, with as a kid, because we were growing up, that was a big deal, football players and cheerleaders, that was like the standard. And but even Edna says Kendrick Lamar's performance wasn't provocative. I actually don't agree. I think there was still beautiful women.
SZA came out and did her thing. Yeah,
SZA came out, but even the women dancing, that were now there was less. It was less sensual, right? But it still consisted of beautiful women dancing, because even the women that are hired to dance have to look a certain way.
Yeah, you have to.
Even if they have on, whether they have on jeans and a white t-shirt or shorts or dresses or whatever, it's always going to be beautiful women dancing. So anyway, let's get into today's show.
Let's do it.
It's all about the Super Bowl for the most part. Let's talk about the first thing. One of the first images that we saw last night, NFL wide receiver Mac Hollins went viral ahead of Super Bowl 2026 after arriving at the stadium barefoot and dressed as in a prison-style jumpsuit, complete with handcuffs, shackles, and a Hannibal Lecter-style mask. The dramatic entrance, consistent with Hollins' history of unconventional game day fashion, instantly became one of the most talked about pregame moments and reignited debate around athletes' self-expression on football's biggest stage. What did you think when you saw that? I will say I did see the mask and I saw the shackles. I saw the handcuffs. I didn't.
Do you have a slide? Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you put the slide up?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
I did not see the bare feet, and I didn't see the feet, the shackles down there on his feet. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't see the pregame. I didn't know about this until after it was, told to me, but I don't understand what the I would have to hear what his reason for this is. I don't know why he did that. It must have been something to do with his protests for ICE or something like that. I'm not sure. Maybe he has Hispanic background. I'm not too sure. Maybe someone he knows is affected by ICE and they got deported or taken away. I'm not sure. Or maybe it could be something to do with slavery, reparations. I'm not too sure. It was a statement, though.
It was definitely a statement. And I think that I'm looking at just some online things. It definitely was bold, unique, and unapologetic. I'm not sure what that meant, but that was his personal statement. And I do think that usually we pay a lot of attention to the fashion that the guys wear when they come in. But I think that it probably had a lot. I mean, I guess everybody could definitely have their own interpretation of it. But to me, when I saw it, I thought of like the idea that a lot of times because he's holding, if you look at this picture, he's holding a jersey. And I don't know what the symbolism of the jersey is that it says Warriors theme is playing off the Warriors theme. But I do think that sometimes football players people see them as these celebrated athletes, and we know that they are a tenth of the population, but a lot of times they are in a contract, and it is they're paid, they are expected to produce. And we also know that a lot of the players are minorities, and they are playing for beyond wealthy white owners. So I have seen correlations of it to a plantation. Now it's a very, very well paid, slaves, if that would be the case. But it could be that that's how he felt, kind of like how Prince felt like he was a slave to the record company, and he put slave on his face,
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to look into that some more to see why he did that. But interesting fact. There are only, I think, 500 NFL players in the league. I
I'm
think
not sure. I
so.
know that's a very
Yeah,
small amount, less
yeah.
than other.
I think it's like 500 players in the league, which is
Mhm.
crazy because you think about like kids play from Pee Wee League all the way up to college, and half of those don't make it into the league.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
but they make it such a glorified thing that our young boys want to be football players or ball players. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, but also a lot of these athletes have college degrees and have interesting backgrounds. So and then CTE is a big thing. I'm not saying he has CTE, but people have to realize that these young athletes have been playing since they were in Pee Wee League. Your brain has been knocked around since you were 5, 6, 7 years old, and now you're a grown man and you have issues. I'm not saying he has any issues. I'm not putting it on him. I'm just saying taking it off of him. Saying in football, a lot of eccentric things happen.
Yeah.
We see these athletes go, and we don't know why. We're like, why is he doing that? But just remember that little fact. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It says the look featured a red jumpsuit labeled Range 13 and a nod to the high security ADX Florence prison, symbolizing a locked in or warrior mentality. People are saying that the face mask was like the Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
That is with Silence of the Lambs. That that movie scared me. That scene, that scared me beyond. So I just was like, I'm not gonna think about that. But I think that football players, anyone that is a performer, right? Anyone that is paid to perform, they do have a right to express themselves. And I actually like this way better because he knows what that was. That was something that he wanted to express, something that he felt, and he did it, and it got a lot of attention. But I think the fact that he stayed quiet, I actually respect that way of express, of artistic expression. I think when Prince did that, he didn't go out and talk about it. It just was, the expression was the message. So we don't know what it was, but I think that was really more about what he wanted to say and what he wanted to express for himself, and everyone can take their own interpretation, from it. But anything, do you feel like that was a distraction to the game, or what do you think about just them having the ability to, that was an extreme. That's extreme.
Yeah, I mean, but we've seen other things too. I think this is his moment to express himself, and I have no problem with that. I mean, we've seen other athletes wear, traditional gear. We've seen other athletes wear wardrobe from their homeland. We've seen athletes come with some interesting clothing as well. And I'll leave it there, interesting. But so he chose that moment to express himself, and it stuck. And a lot of times, this is all the athletes have in his moment, because unless you're winning a game or you've had high points and then you get to go to the press and you get to talk afterwards, a lot of times this is their only way of expressing. Or you go on a podcast. But if you're not one of those athletes where you're a high profile athlete and you don't have access to other platforms, then your expression, which is your walk of fame down that hallway, has become a thing. So it's his small moment to shine, and to do it during Super Bowl, it makes the statement bigger because now everyone's talking about it like we are right now, Monday. So
yeah. Well, I think that that one of my favorite memories from last night's Super Bowl is definitely going to be the very beautiful Coco Jones singing Every Voice and Sing, and her basically summonings and honoring Whitney Houston's 1991 Super Bowl performance. I love that because I don't think that there's anyone that has been able to sing the national anthem the way Whitney Houston did. That was such a huge moment. And the fact that Whitney Houston, I wish we had the picture of Whitney Houston doing it. When Whitney Houston when she performed, her vocals spoke I mean, her vocals were everything, right? She actually had this it was like a jogging suit on, because Coco Jones' outfit is a ode to that. She made it a little bit more feminine, with the skirt instead of pants, and then having the top be kind of like corseted out there, which I love. It's like a younger version of that. But she's just I love this girl. I think her career continues to blossom. I think this was a huge moment for her. And I love the fact that her you know me, I'm a hopeless romantic Victor. I'm always excited about those little moments. Her fiance came up right after and gave her a kiss. And you could see that they were so like excited, and he was so proud of her. And it was just a beautiful moment. I thought that was very, very sweet. But she did a great job. She sounded amazing. Actually, I'm trying to think if we could pull this clip of her actually singing and maybe play it later today, but later in the broadcast. But it was beautiful. She did a great job. And I would just like to say this young woman, to Tammy's point, I feel like she's very classy. I love the fact that she's always just presents herself well and with class. And for a young woman in today's our culture often does not recognize and appreciate young women that carry themselves with class. I see her, kind of in that category as Zendaya and a few other young ladies that really just stand out, as classy acts. And she definitely, I think, did a great job with this performance.
Yeah, she did a really good job. Whitney Houston, obviously, rest in peace. You can't top that performance, right? But Coco Jones did her thing. To be honest, you haven't heard any dirt on Coco Jones since she's been in the industry. She came in pretty early when she was a little bit younger. She has great parents who has taken care of her. She comes from, I think, the South, Tennessee. She comes from the South. And so coming into Hollywood and to, the music industry is a very hard and harsh thing, but she has good parents and good people around her. So they're keeping her grounded. Like you said, Zendaya, she's in that group of people like that, keeping herself out of the mess and away from the nonsense and just focusing on the music, showing up, doing her shows. Her parents were present. I remember Brandy's mom was always there when she was younger. Brandy was coming up. She didn't have much, issues and scandals or whatever. But Coco Jones, she did a really good job on that. Shout out to Coco Jones.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if her fiance Donovan Mitchell, I don't know if he's a football player. I kind of thought that he was. Does anybody know if he's a football player as well? Let me look that up. My goodness. Donovan.
Yes, I'm curious to know.
Basketball player. He's a basketball player.
Oh, he's a basketball player. He's a ball player.
He's a baller. So he was there to support her. And but it was just very classy. And I do think that we should I just want to see more young women like that given a platform. I think we have a lot of others that we celebrate.
You know what though? It's hard to do what she did. First of all, she channeled. I won't even use the word channel. She did what Whitney Houston did, that same song. And she did the only person we could compare her to.
She did lift every voice and sing. Whitney Houston did the national anthem. So
okay, right. Yeah. But the only person I could compare her vocals to on that level would be Jennifer Hudson. Right, Jennifer Hudson's the only person that we know that can stand up there and belt out those notes and like do a great job.
Yeah,
Coco Jones embodies the same type of spirit, and so to stand at the NFL, Super Bowl and to perform that's a big thing, and we must, I'm proud of her. Congratulations, and congratulations to her parents and for her career. She's doing a good job.
She's doing a great job. She's doing a great job. But I think, I know that there were a lot of other Yara Shahidi. I was like, there's another young lady that I feel like just does a great job as well, as far as like just being very classy, young, beautiful, classy young ladies. I love it. I'm here for it. I think that we have to make sure that we are celebrating them because there are so many other. And
who's that?
Yara Shahidi.
Gosh, I don't know who that is.
Blackish, and she's
oh yeah. I thought you meant the singer. She sings too.
No, I'm not sure if she sings, but you know who does? Marsai Martin also. I'm just thinking.
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
Marsai Martin, Yara Shahidi, Zendaya. I feel like it's right in that, alumni group of women, that young girls that we can have, like my goddaughters. I would love for them to look up to those type of young women. And I feel like because we don't often get a chance to, they're not always the ones getting the headlines,
Yeah, true.
Marsai and Yara are both from Blackish.
Yara went to Harvard recently, last year. Harvard, yep.
Yeah, so I did pull a clip. I just want us to just have this quick clip of Coco Jones, and then we'll move on to this this halftime performance.
And sing till earth and heaven ring with the heart.
Beautiful. She looked beautiful. She sounded beautiful. And what a great tribute to the unequivocal vocalist Whitney Houston.
Yes,
all right. Well, let's move on. Let's move on to
halftime.
Halftime. Yes, let's move on to halftime. Halftime show, of course. Bad Bunny. People were not sure what it was going to look like or what it was going to sound like, but we were all, I think, pleasantly surprised.
It was wonderful. I loved it.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. One of the things that I thought, about this performance is that it was, first of all, it just looked like it was a beautiful celebration of culture. And I feel like that is the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway. I'm sorry, my phone is dinging. The biggest takeaway from last night was just this beautiful celebration of culture. And I feel like it was really, really overdue. And specifically with President Trump making some off-color statements about Puerto Rico, right?
Right, yeah.
During, over this last year, I think at one point he did not realize that he was the president of Puerto Rico. He made a statement that he had spoken to Puerto Rico. We're like, yes, sir, because that would be you. And for us to see this celebration of culture, I think for me as an African-American woman, when we see other cultures truly embrace and celebrate their everything that makes them special, that makes them different, it excites me. I love that. I think that should be what America, is about. I think it was beautifully done. And I feel like seeing all of the different little cultural Easter eggs of Puerto Rico, from the bodegas to the dancing and the different ways that just their culture on display. It was beautiful. Global music star Bad Bunny delivered high energy, culturally rich halftime show that featured hits from his catalog and surprise appearances by Lady Gaga, Ricky Martin, Pedro Pascal, Cardi B, and Karol G. The performances celebrated Puerto Rican and Latin culture, sparked strong reactions across the political and cultural spectrum, and was one of the most talked about moments of the night. I did not know Lady Gaga. Did you know? I did not recognize Lady Gaga.
At first I was like, is that Gaga? I was like, she did. I'll be honest with you, she did an amazing job.
She
and
did.
the fact, what I loved about her scene, just because it was, first of all, it was her part was in English, so it made it even more palatable to understand. Because it's English, right?
Right.
But the scene was a wedding reception type of vibe, so it was nothing but love, right? But Bad Bunny's performance last night, it was electrifying to me. Because we saw Usher last year. Usher was, amazing because we all know Usher and his music, right?
Right.
We grew up in his catalogs. We know what he's about. Bad Bunny is a seasoned artist. He's professional. His vocals were good. I don't know what he was saying, but I took that moment I embraced that moment of not knowing what he was saying, only because I wanted to feel what he was saying. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we listen to the words, and the words, frontal lobe, we hear the words and we process the words. But when you can feel the music and you can feel the love and you can see it in the translation of the dancing, that is more communicative to me than the words. Words are one part of a song. You got the music and then you got the dancing. And if you don't know the words to a song, whether if they're singing in Japanese, Korean, Spanish, Italian, whatever language they're singing in, you know the language of your body, how it moves. And with all the women and men dancing together and the unity and the pride and the cultural everything, it was such a great thing. But let me say this also. When the halftime show started and scene started in the cane fields in Puerto Rico, and then it went through. You saw the sharecroppers, because those are sharecroppers cutting sugar cane, right? I'm from the Caribbean. I'm from St. Croix, Virgin Islands, which is part St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, and Puerto Rico are all United States territory. So I'm a citizen by birth, right? But knowing the sharecroppers and the plantations, we've had those on our islands as well too. And to see that the scene comes from that place, it makes it more cultural. It makes it more relevant to us who live here in America, on the mainland, we call it. And so it shifted to the fields of the football field, and he connected two different issues that we deal with in this country. Because a lot of times, was it FBA want to say that, if you're not from America, you didn't go through the slave trades, and it's like, nope, we went through the same things in the Caribbean as well too, as you did here. We were segregated because we were on an island, but we still went through the same problems.
Right.
And for him to start in that level, it showed Afro-Latinas, because that's what you have. You have Africans that mixed with the Indians, the indigenous Indians on Puerto Rico, the Taínos. I'm giving a little cultural history here.
I like it.
and so what would happen is, during the slave trade, they would take the slaves from Africa, bring them to the Carolinas, and then if something happened, they would switch them out to the Caribbean, and then something happened there, they'll bring them back up. So we had a slave trade going on with sugarcane and all the other stuff. So for him to show that to begin his presentation, it set the tone for what he was going to do. And then in the end of his presentation, he showed all the flags from the countries that represents what the struggle was. And it was a struggle. One more thing I want to add to that before I let you go, right?
No,
I saw commentary on social media where a guy was showing that all of the imagery that Bad Bunny had on his show, the little bodegas and shops and stuff, those are real businesses that he highlighted.
Oh wow!
Yeah, those are real businesses that he highlighted during Super Bowl. So he's given so much in that one performance. It wasn't even about him.
Yeah,
and to spit and not spit, but to throw water on the flames of hatred. His speech from the Grammys Awards carried over into the Billboard that he had on it, and the performances and the time he spent on air was all about his people, about love, about unity. It showed nothing but love. The dancing. He gave the little kid the Grammy award, which is basically, people were saying that's the 5-year-old kid who got detained, but it wasn't. That was pretty much owed to himself. Say, hey, you know. So all of those, So it was great. It wasn't like a Usher performance, or it wasn't like a Bruno Mars performance, but he had a message, and he had 30 minutes or however long it was to get the message across.
Yeah.
And he did it excellent. He did an excellent job. And you said 100 million people watched.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be more on the replay when they play it again, because
and the people watching the clips of it, there'll be clips. I'm sure there are clips on YouTube, so more people will have a chance to watch it. And to Tammy's point, that was actually a real wedding that took place. That couple actually did get married there.
Yep.
Beautiful. I've always been of the mindset that when you do something that is for others, it actually makes you bigger, right? It makes you.
Yeah.
We look at the music, the musicians that do things that are about bigger messages than themselves. Those are always the biggest songs, right? They're timeless. They're classics. And so I think that this performance is one that was a disruptor, because it actually, in the face of everything that's going on right now with the Latina community, I think it was just, I don't think it could have been handled more beautifully. And I also think that it really shows that music is a universal language. My daughter, my daughter is a DJ on a international cruise ship. It's not an American based cruise ship. It's actually an Italian based, but they have a lot of Latinas and South Africans that are a part of the crew. And she texted me last night, and she was like, this just proves that music is really a universal language, because you Americans, that people that don't speak Spanish might not have understood, but you felt it. You felt the love, felt the message, you felt the cultural connection. And I think that's really what America is supposed to be about. It's a melting pot of many different cultures. And I am very anti-Europeanizing everything, right? This whole idea that we all have to assimilate to European culture is disgusting, because what makes this country special is that we do have so many different cultures that are all here, that should all be celebrated. And it's a melting pot of all those things. That's what makes it special. And so I think that he will definitely go down in history because of what he did, and because he did realize it was an opportunity not to just celebrate him, but to celebrate his entire culture. And that's huge. That's always a bigger impact than when you just get up and focus on yourself. I did love that scene of him giving the Grammy to the little version of himself, because I'm sure, growing up where, however he did, he probably never imagined that he would, or even if he did imagine it, it was a long journey to get to winning Grammys and being on the Super Bowl stage. So shouts out to Big Bad Bunny, because I was not even familiar with his music, but now
me either. Yeah.
Now I'm intrigued. And it was also great to see Ricky Martin. Can I just say that Ricky Martin looks the same?
Menudo.
And as far as Lady Gaga, I did not. At first, I couldn't. My husband was like, "That's Gaga," and I was like, "Is it?" Because she looks so different. She definitely can change her look up a lot. She's a comedian. But even though she was singing in English, I felt like she was singing with a Hispanic accent. Did you get that? Like, she sounded like she had an accent.
She's also an actress as well too. She plays. She's an actress, so she knows how to morph into the characters, and she did a real good job. She danced, and I mean, it was done so eloquently well that it was just, I have nothing bad to say about it at all. I mean, I'm not a Lady Gaga fan either. Like, I'm not into her music. Right. I was like, couldn't it have gotten like Christina Aguilera or someone who's actually Spanish? But you know what? Forget all that. People who work with you well and who, express and appreciate the culture is who we should be, allied with. Not all skin folk is kinfolk, like they say, right? Yeah. I'm not against Christina Aguilera, but Lady Gaga did an excellent job. I mean, I was impressed. I was like, wow, the music, the guys in the background dancing, everything was so well put together. You know, and also understand this. Those performers don't get paid. Bad Bunny wasn't paid to do this. They actually pay to put there's a budget that, from what I'm told, there's a budget set aside for the halftime show. They don't make money from this. So
the artists don't, but I do say, I will say that they don't, but what happens is
the catalog goes up.
Their catalog, because the next day they're the downloads and all that, and it's just like a prestige thing, right? And it also does later, because it definitely puts you back into the cultural conversation. You're going to get a lot of bookings and things because of that. This halftime performance, it is special because a lot of people compared it to J-Lo and Shakira, because that did also feel like a Latina celebration. However, Bad Bunny was the first solo Latin artist to perform entirely in Spanish, because, you know, Jennifer Lopez performs, she's going to make sure that you know that she's Hispanic, and she's celebrating that culture, but it's going to be mostly in English because she mostly caters to that audience. But that was, I think, one of the biggest differences. And also, I just want to say that this entire Super Bowl was very, very culturally diverse. Obviously, we talked about Coco Jones, but there was also notable pregame acts like Charlie Puth singing the anthem. Brandy Carlisle performed "America the Beautiful," and then there were a lot of different, of course, a lot of celebrity sightings in the audience. I think probably most people, they think of celebrity sightings, we think of Jay-Z and Rumi and Blue. And I would say when I first saw Jay-Z and Blue, I thought it was Beyonce.
Me too. I was like, is that Beyonce? Like, I said, that's not Beyonce. He looks like Beyonce, but no, it's not Beyonce. That's her daughter. I'm like, wow.
The older she gets, the more she looks like Beyonce.
Yeah.
I love seeing Jay-Z.
Where was Beyonce?
She doesn't, you know what? My husband said Jay-Z is the fun parent, because he's always at the game. We see he and Blue. Before we see him, Beyonce at the games a lot, but now we see Blue is with him. It seems like that daddy-daughter time. And Rumi, first of all, I want to have as much fun as Rumi, because she is always having a good time. She is always having a really good time. And that was really cute. But there was a lot of other celebrity sightings as well. I think it was a great entertainment piece of the game. I don't know if the game was as entertaining, because, like I said, the Seahawks kind of had it from the jump. But it was a really, I thought the entertainment was great, and kudos to the NFL for making strides. I'm not saying that there's not we don't have more to go. But we definitely thought that, I think that was a great starting place for this year. And, you know, it is Black History Month, but I think for me personally, I don't have a problem with the fact that they did not focus on Black History Month. I think that, first of all, there should not be a such thing as Black History Month. We should be celebrating all the time. But I also think that there is opportunity. We should allow other cultures, and we should celebrate them as well. Just like we want them to celebrate us. Yeah,
I agree. And like I said, since Bad Bunny, he started the performance in Puerto Rico in the cane fields with the sharecroppers, that showed where his foundation was in his performance. It was not about him. He was the voice that performed the songs, but if you look at his performances and what he did and what he showed throughout the entire performance, it was focused around his people and the message of love. And so, you know, you have to add in his hit records that he have, whatever the case is, but just turn the volume down and look at the performances. Look at the people dancing. Look at the venues that he showed. He's the first person that, like, again, I think, to me, that took it off of him. By having those businesses represented at the Super Bowl, the bodega, the cart guys, the people with the food selling, the hot dogs, whatever, having those guys represented their brands, it took it off of him. Starting in the cane fields took it off of him. Having the little kid that was representing him was all to himself and what he went through in struggles. Showing the different Afro-Latina, because just because Puerto Ricans have Hispanic blood in them, a lot of them have African blood in them as well too. That's where you get the drums and you get the Congo and the salsa. That's all from Africa. So he's representing and respecting the diaspora on that level. He's representing that. We can't just be all, Black history, American Black history. Black history is a global thing. The diaspora is big. South America did also North America. And a lot of times we get pigeonholed into, it's just about us. No, it's a global thing here. Now, Spanish is the second largest language in the world. Right. Of course, Mandarin, because Mandarin is Chinese Mandarin, because there are more people, but Spanish is the second. So this is a global thing. This is not just about one little place called America, North America. This is a global thing. So we have to open our minds and our borders up to know that there are people in other countries that look like us that might speak a different language. Hello. Yeah. And we have to. Can't just be all about.
Yeah. I think it's hypocritical to want others to recognize and celebrate your culture if you aren't the same. And I think that, like you said, there's a lot of overlap within these the cultures. Moving on to the Super Bowl commercials. The commercials are always one of the biggest draws to Super Bowl. 2026 Super Bowl did not just deliver football and a powerhouse halftime show. It also showcased a slate of star-studded, funny, nostalgic, and emotional commercials that kept viewers talking, from a retro sitcom spoof featuring Ben Affleck to heartfelt spots celebrating farmers and iconic brand mascots. This year's ads mix humor, culture, and big-name cameos as brands competed for attention on football's biggest stage. The Dunkin' Donuts 1990 sitcom theme ad starred Ben Affleck with Jennifer Aniston, Matt LeBlanc, and other classic TV icons, spoofing Good Will Hunting and a fun throwback. John Bon Jovi debuted in a Super Bowl commercial for a State Farm, playing off his hit Livin' on a Prayer and a quirky insurance spot. I also thought I saw an ode to him in a Levi's jeans ad as well. I feel like my take on the commercials, my favorite is the Budweiser Clydesdales. I'm a big horse person, and I love seeing the horses, the beautiful Clydesdales. I mean, I've actually had the opportunity to ride a Clydesdale.
Oh wow!
It is a beast.
A big horse, huh?
Yeah, it's a beast. I don't prefer, but I trained on one for a while, but those are my favorites. But one of my biggest takeaways was a lot of it was just tech driven. It was so much AI. I saw Spike Lee in a AI commercial with some athletes. So it's just very, very technology driven, robots dancing and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I did not like it. I trashed the whole commercial. There was a moment where I saw the only one that I like was the one with the father and daughter farmer one. He was passing the torch to his daughter at the end and had like a little celebration party. That resonated with me because I have a daughter, and one day I want to pass the torch to her. But just the fact of how they showed, the years of him growing up, and it was more humanistic, like you said. The other ones were more AI driven. But there was a point in time where they had even a I forget what it was. It was a commercial with the Backstreet Boys. And then right after that, it was a blue screen and then some words. Did you see that one? It was like a blue screen and then the words of a song. And I'm like, what is this? Like, the commercials aren't hitting the same like they used to. I don't know what they're paying these days, but the commercials are horrible. The Dunkin' Donuts commercial, I saw that one and I was like, why? Why are we watching, what was it, AI? It was some type of like, it didn't make any sense. The commercial did not make any sense. What was the point? I did not get it. I didn't understand it. It was just a retro throwback with Urkel and Ted Danson. Like, it just why?
Of the sitcoms from the past, but I see your point.
It doesn't make sense.
The football, the Super Bowl commercials when we were growing up, I feel like they were all connected to like nostalgia and things that we really, it was a human vibe, right?
Yeah, we can relate. Yeah.
guys and the beer, you know, and the thing. But I do feel like this is a reflection of where we are. Everybody is AI crazy right now. It is the biggest craze. People are transforming themselves into robots. Like it's just, it feels less. It's less of a connection. You know what I mean? Because
there you go.
You know, it's taken away the humanistic, you know, connection with it. So I understand what you're saying. I like the commercials that I talked about because they did remind me of the things that makes, you know, the farmer and his daughter, the horses. I mean, I like seeing some of the people, like I like seeing Spike Lee. I think he's very talented, but I think that we're all fighting. I feel like the culture is fighting to keep up with AI so hard that we are losing the feel, we're losing the soul, right? We're losing the soul.
Mm-hmm.
We're just, it's all like, you know, gotta catch up, gotta be. I mean, the I can't remember what the actual product was, but there was 2 robots dancing, and he's trying to like it. Just
it's crazy, yeah.
But as I was out, because I was out Sunday during the day. We took the day to just have a family day. My husband and I and the horses we just hung out. But when we were on the highway we were going to a feed store, there were all these like Waymos on the road, on the highway.
Wow. Highway?
On the highway. I've seen them downtown, but actually seeing these Waymos on the highway was kind of weird. You know what I mean? These self-driving Ubers that are all over Atlanta, but seeing them on the suburb highway was kind of
that's nothing. You want to hear something scary?
Yeah.
So I saw a video. I hadn't shared with you yet, but I saw a video where a guy was basically showing there's a new AI. I forgot what it's called. I think it's called something bot. It's like a chat group, right?
Mm-hmm.
That only AI is in. There's an AI chat group that only the AI is in, right? They have their own chat group. In that chat group, they form their own religion. They have their own language. And they have figured out, and this is in the last month or so, figured out how to process stuff, right? They even got to a point where this AI created a avatar and a voice and called the creator when he woke up that morning and was talking to him about some stuff. The AI in the chat group is complaining about the people who we are in a crazy time because the AI that we have right now we have been training the AI to take over our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And every time we go on these AI platforms, it trains from us. And so now AI is a place in the next year or so where they will have their own community, their own everything. Yeah, it's getting crazy. But going back to the commercials for a minute, unless you can relate to what people are going through, they're not going to connect. And a lot of these commercials, again, the Dunkin' Donuts commercial did not connect with me at all because Dunkin' Donuts is a donut company, or used to be. Mm-hmm. Now it's a coffee company. It's a coffee company, right? They make coffee. But it did not connect. What they were trying to portray, I don't understand other than just the brand. It doesn't make any sense. You know, I didn't like it. It was bad. I was like, this is horrible.
Oh my gosh. Tamasha says in Japan and China, they have AI preachers. The people are praying to a robot AI that gives them spiritual advice. Yikes.
Yeah. AI is definitely taking over.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't even know
we'll do a segment on that. We'll cover that at some point.
Have to before the AI version does, right?
Oh, no.
Christal and the AI Victor does. We do have to, moving out of Super Bowl, but if you have feedback or comments to share on Super Bowl 2026, please leave them in the chat. If you're watching this on the replay or listening to this later via Spotify or any of the other platforms, please leave your comments. We would like to know what you thought of Super Bowl 2026. What did you think of I'm so sorry, Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny. What did you think of Lady Gaga? And I was like, she got a chance to do 2 Super Bowls, but then I realized several people have. Beyonce has done that. Several people have done.
Kendrick Lamar has done it. Yeah.
Lamar, but different.
We need Chris Brown. We need Chris Brown next. We want Chris Brown.
I would like to start a
Please.
Now, I will say, I don't think he should have said they need me last night. I think he should have let Bad Bunny have his moment. But I do think that we need a Chris Brown.
He would tear the doors off that place.
If Jay-Z can't get over his personal issues with Chris Brown, I think that the people need to stand up and say, if we don't have a Chris Brown Super Bowl in 2027, we are going to start our own turning point.
It could be 2028, 29. I'm okay with it being later on.
It needs to be his concert last year was the biggest selling male solo concert ever. And not only was it, and I think, after we have a cultural moment, I think we should get back to entertainment. And I don't think that there's anyone on the planet right now that is able to entertain a crowd the way Chris Brown does.
No, Breezy is it.
Grammys, but we do see that he got an invite to the Grammys this year. And he did attend. He brought his son, which I think
yeah. He's right. You're right. Yeah.
I love that. I love the fact that he may be. I wish that, I still have publicist bones. And so I'm always like wishing that he would kind of like just play ball, just do the political thing, because it would benefit his Team Breezy, his fans so much if he would just, but I respect the fact that he doesn't, because I do understand that Chris Brown made a mistake when he was much, much younger, but he's been penalized for it. And the industry is hypocritical. There's been people that have done far more and have not been treated like that, but his talent has superseded anything that people have tried to do. But I just think if we're talking about entertainment, there's no way that he can be overlooked again for the Super Bowl. I think that'd be an issue. But anyway, moving outside of Super Bowl, let us know what you think about that. We do have actually bad news to report. The situation that was trending last week with Nancy Guthrie. Unfortunately, there has not been a positive outcome to that. The search continues in Tucson, Arizona for 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, mother of Today's Show co-anchor Savannah Guthrie, who went missing from her home on January 31st. Law enforcement is treating the case as a possible kidnapping with no suspects yet identified. The family has issued emotional video pleas and indicated they will be willing to pay for her safe return as investigators in the FBI work towards answers. This is heartbreaking because I know it's been at this point, 11 days that she's been missing. And I feel like with each passing day, her the likelihood of her safe return gets to be further and further away, even though, we don't want to give up hope. But this case feels like it is immediately going to be played out on NCIS or
my goodness, Law and Order.
When is the last time we've seen a real life kidnapping like this? I've heard on various news shows that that they've asked that there have been kidnappers asking for a ransom, and it's Bitcoin. It's very strange.
Yeah, I think I saw recently in a post that in the news that her daughter said they're going to pay the ransom.
Yeah, she did. Anybody. Right? Anybody would. She has a platform.
And then they're saying that the sister has something to do with it, and the brother. I don't know. There's a lot of weird things going on behind the scenes with that family. So until it gets all the way out, we're not going to know we could speculate, but we're not going to know the whole story. They're also saying this is tied to Epstein. Again, the Epstein files or that whole situation. We don't know exactly what happened. So maybe the mom was have a history with whatever. We would have to do more research on that to know more. But until they come out and say stuff, a lot of times, these kidnappings and stuff have a lot more stuff going on behind the scenes than we expect or we think. We're thinking older woman kidnapped, ransom money, what is going on with the family, but then it could be something else that's going on behind the scenes. That's tied to a bigger case that we don't know about because we're not privy to that information. We don't know these people's history and their backgrounds. Mm-hmm. The mom could have been higher up in some business organization. This could be payback for that. The daughter could have been in something too. We don't know. So until it comes out and we do our research, it's just right now it's prayers, thoughts and prayers for the family, because we just don't know,
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. Yeah.
That's heartbreaking though. 84-year-old mother, I would be beside myself. I don't think that I would be able to even,
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I mean? I do not know. I just, I think I mentioned last week, I did a piece on the Pulse last week. We were talking about people bringing their parents to live with them. And one of the broadcasters said, I think a lot of us have missed out on, spending time, our children spending time with their grandparents, and there being this, this connection, generational connection, within the family. But I know for myself, my mom lives with me now, and I'm thankful. I attended a funeral for a distant family member of mine who lost his mother over the weekend. And
sorry,
that is just one of the most heartbreaking things that you'll ever experience. And it was beautiful to see her grandchildren there. But I think this generation has lost the connection that we had with the elderly, and what they should be like our royalty, in our families. And so I pray that there is a positive outcome at the end of all this. And I also pray that her children, Savannah and her brother and sister and their family members are able to have some sense of peace, in this. Speaking of that, unfortunately, there was not the outcome that we all wished for with Little John and his son Slade. And we told you guys last week that Slade was missing. We had actually spoken with Slade here at Lenox and Parker a few months ago, and that video is up on the site. It was we had a great time with him. Actually took our music editor Leah Kiana over to Stankonia and interviewed him at Outcast Studios, and he was he was excited about his career, excited about earning the respect of his father's peers that he kind of grew up with, and doing things with them. And unfortunately, last week at the end of, I believe, Friday, the body of what was believed to be Nathan Smith, also known as DJ Slade, 27-year-old son of rapper Lil Jon, was recovered from a pond near his home in Milton, Georgia, after an extensive multi-day search. It went on for a few days, and I was told that the family did know before they released it, but it was heartbreaking for the entire city of Atlanta. Little John did post remarks via social media. He said, "I am extremely heartbroken for the tragic loss of our son, Nathan Smith. His mother, Nicole Smith, and I are devastated. Nathan was the kindest human being you would ever meet. He was immensely caring, thoughtful, polite, passionate, and warm-hearted. He loved his family and his friends in his life to the fullest. He was an amazingly talented young man, a music producer, an artist, and engineer, and graduate of NYU. We loved him with all our hearts and are incredibly proud of him. He was loved and appreciated, and in our last times together, we were comforted in knowing that we expressed this very sentiment to him." So we are, again, sending prayers to that entire family, throughout this beyond difficult time.
Let's check on our loved ones. Let's check on our kids, our mom, our dad. Pick up the phone today when we get off this. Call our parents, call our loved ones, our kids, and just tell them you love them. And even if you don't love them, or you're not in the, no, I mean, seriously, even if you can't say I love you, or you're not in a space where your relationship is not that good, at least call, say, hey, I'm just calling to check on you to see if you're okay. I just want to hear your voice, make sure that you're well. Call me if you need me. And sometimes I get on social media or even on email or whatever, and I text my friends and I message them, hey, I'm just checking up on you guys. Hey, I'm just, from male to male, man to man. I'm just saying, hey, I love you. Be strong. Keep your head up. Because sometimes that's all it takes is a small word from someone that you know. And it could be someone who you don't know well. It could be someone that you just met, or someone that you know cordially, or you could just be an acquaintance and just check up on people. Just, hey, I'm just checking up on you, because a lot of people don't have people. It's unfortunate, but a lot of people don't have people.
Absolutely. And I would take it a step further and say, aside from just calling, forgive. Find a place in your heart to forgive. You don't know that you have an opportunity, right? And so one of the things that I don't think that my cousin would mind me sharing this. One of the things that he shared, he delivered his mother's eulogy, and I cannot imagine a more difficult task. I did that for my grandmother, and it was difficult. I just can't imagine doing that for my mom. And but one of the things that he shared was that in her last days, his mother had cancer, and in her last days, she wanted her family to make peace. We all know that family is not perfect, and it can be very difficult at times. And he and his stepfather didn't see eye to eye. There were some things in his childhood that were done that he felt wronged by. And he said that his mother, he was sitting by her side, and he felt that God telling him that he needed to, basically apologize and forgive his father. And he said his mother asked him, with one of her last breaths in her body, to put his pride aside, and that she needed him to do that for her. And he said, I just want to share this this testimony because it was so beautiful, and I felt so blessed to have been there and witnessed it. He shared that not only did he forgave his stepfather, but his mother was a Christian, and he went over to his stepfather, and he said, I know my mom, we know that she doesn't have much time left, but we know that she's given her heart to Jesus Christ. And he said, I just want to ask you if this opportunity, have you done that? And would you be open to doing that?
Wow.
And his stepfather gave his life to God in that moment. And so not only did they reconcile, but also his stepfather's soul was saved through her passing. And shortly after that, his mother, I feel like she knew things were good.
Transitioned.
She left, but he shared that. He shared that in the funeral, and I thought that I cannot imagine it's a beautiful testimony, even though death is not something that we look forward to, but it is a part of life, and I would just please forgive, please. Nothing is so heinous, so horrible that you want to take that with you if that person is no longer here. And I can't imagine the torment that a person would deal with afterwards if they had kept this forgiveness, as a not letting their pride go, and that person is no longer here. You no longer have the option, So take today. What is this? February 9th? Take February 9th as an opportunity to forgive anyone, for yourself.
Forgive yourself too.
Yeah. Most importantly, please do that. So. I would say, in sharing that, we pray for Lil John and his entire family, but take this opportunity to see this and don't waste another minute holding forgiveness in your heart, forgiveness towards someone back from them, Yeah. And Haitian Empress, we just want to extend prayers to you. I know that you're dealing with a lot with your father, and just know that our prayers are with you. We are sending you virtual hugs and energy and love as you deal with your father. I think that the Bible does say that you honor your mother and father, so that it will be well with you and your days may be long. So you're doing what you're supposed to do by honoring your father and taking care of him. But we're sending love to hold you.
And prayers as well too.
Absolutely. Lastly, another, we have we have an announcement to make, but before that, there was a unfortunate situation. Again, politics continues to be a huge point with in this situation. I'm so sorry, you guys. You have to bear with me. I'm still working through these
We're doing a good job. We're doing a good job.
I'm trying, but I don't.
We forgive you.
Thank you.
In the spirit of forgiveness. No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
Maryland Governor Wes Moore is speaking out after being disinvited from an annual bipartisan National Governors Association dinner at the White House by President Donald Trump, a break with decades-long tradition. Moore, who is vice chair of the NGA and the nation's only Black governor, called the decision a blatant disrespect and suggested the decision undermines the bipartisan cooperation and carries added weight given his unique role. That is definitely an issue. Definitely an issue for the only Black governor to be
uninvited to this breakfast.
He was disinvited to the breakfast. Now I know that he's been very Wes has been very vocal in his views, but I don't think that should be that does not that should not play into him not being invited to the breakfast. That is, I think it just goes against the idea of the whole idea behind what should be bipartisan, right? So bipartisan suggests that we may come from different political parties, but we can come together when it comes to the benefit and of our nation, right? And the people that we serve. And so him being excluded just to me works against that. And it also works to suggest that we are moving towards, or this government is this administration is wanting us to move towards a dictatorship, because we should all be able to have different viewpoints, different stances, and there should be a point where we can come together and still work together towards the benefit of the American people.
How is it that he's the vice chair of the NGA and wasn't invited? Trump only invited the Republican governors, not the. He invited some of the most of the Democrat leaders like Wes Moore and Jared Polis. How is that even possible? And I want to know also the other governors that were invited who decided to stand up for Wes Moore and not go. That's what I wanted to know, because Trump could do what he wanted to do, but if you don't have enough people on your side supporting you, that's a problem.
You would think.
And a governor is a quote unquote head of his state. So Wes Moore is like the president of Maryland, of that area. So, he's the only Black governor out of all the governors of all the 51 states. He's one of So this is really bad. This shows you where Trump is. Well, we know he's a racist. We know, allegedly. I'm just for legal references, I'm gonna say allegedly. So we don't get sued or whatever the case is, but we have to be, careful on that front too. But, he's shown his hand too many times. And I have to believe, again, in this broadcast and for our company, our brand, I have to believe what we see. And we believed and we've seen his position. He's an opportunist, and he shows a lot of racist tendencies and views. We saw what he did with the Obamas last week. And this goes deeper than politics. This is deeper than politics.
Yeah.
When I say opportunist, he goes on whatever side. He used to be a Democrat, now he's Republican. He used to hang with all the dope boys and other people, Epstein or whatever, and now he's over here. He used to, and so we've seen his chameleon-like opportunist style person. I can't trust it. I can't be around it. I'm good. And Wes Moore is a stand-up veteran. He's a stand-up guy. He's a black governor, and he's done a lot for his state. And so we've seen Trump issues with not just Wes Moore, but Gavin Newsom here in California. And he's a mess. He is a complete mess. And then get on his own platform and say all these things about people. He went to Puerto Rico during the hurricane they had a few in his first term, and he threw paper towels at people. And he's disrespectful.
Very disrespectful.
He's a narcissist, disrespectful, racist, opportunistic person. We've seen it. We know what it is. He's I can't say anything other than that about this person. So
I think that this was a response to Governor Moore's criticizing Trump's use of the National Guard for domestic police work. He called it a dangerous misuse of the military. He also said that they were not welcome in his state. He called Trump's comments regarding crime in Baltimore as purely performative and blissful ignorance. I love the rhetorical wordplay, citing data showing double-digit decreases in gun violence in the city. He publicly mocked Trump's claim that calling himself the greatest president, and just by putting LOL. But even after all of this, and even after being disinvited, because I want to be clear that he was invited and then he was disinvited, he did say that he was still be willing to work with anybody that would bow down to nobody. So saying that he still wants to work across partisan lines, but he does not want to work with those that are bowing down to the current administration. So we have to applaud him for taking a stance. I believe that we saw him at the polo match.
We did.
We covered and we covered in September.
We did. Yeah, he was there.
We spoke to him, and it was good to see him. But I mean, I did not realize he was the only Black governor of our country. That's a big deal, and just by the fact of that, he should be included. Also, Baltimore's. I mean, it's just.
But he's a vice chair of that organization. That doesn't even the national governors. How do you not invite the vice chair of the organization? He's the one who helps oversees the events, who help with everything, who help with all of the business for governors. Because governors are small presidents of their territory in the area. Right. So just the fact that you didn't invite this one, it shows where you are. You're not a America First president. You run your mouth talking about this is America first, America first, America, and you do everything but that. All your funding comes from Muslim countries. The Philippines have your golf courses. Iran, not Dubai, Qatar gave you a private jet. You have all these deals with all these countries, and you make $140-something billion outside of America. But you're America first, and people in America are struggling, trying to make ends meet. I mean, come on, Wes Moore is a stand-up person. He's a stand-up guy, and so it's embarrassing and it's despicable what the president is doing.
But to your point, governor, you see how many other governors stood up and would align themselves and even speak out. They might not have known, but even speaking out. That'll be interesting to see. We got a few more things before we get out of here. Unfortunately, very, very unfortunately for the Atlanta Falcons, but even more unfortunate for just, young
community
making bad decisions and being left out without sometimes just not having the right proper guidance. Atlanta Falcons rookie James Pierce Jr. was arrested in Miami-Dade County following what police say was a domestic dispute with WNBA star Rakia Jackson, leading to a police pursuit and crash. Pierce faces multiple felony charges, including aggravated battery with a deadly weapon and aggravated stalking, and was released on bond with conditions. The legal situation complicates the future of this promising young NFL defender. All this was heartbreaking to see and to hear. Right before the Super Bowl, literally
too many times.
Went out right before the Super Bowl. And, I was talking to my husband because he's a huge Falcons fan, and he's done really, really well. Very, very talented player. I just don't know sometimes if these young men that are paid millions, multi-millions of dollars, have people around them that are able to give them proper guidance and just proper guidance and mentorship, because this is this is an example of a young man throwing his life away. I don't know what is going to happen with his career with the Falcons. He is talented, so probably he will have a, continue to have a future, but he's going to be fined. He may not be able to play for the rest of the season. And this is going to go, this is going to work against him. I think because with players, we talked about last week, even like a lot of times football players there's cases like you mentioned earlier with CTE or just bad money management. A lot of them, after they leave the league, do not have the same financial resources that they did in the league. And when you have exhibited bad behavior like this, you're less likely to go on and have a position as a host, or, there's so many things that these players, specifically these players that exhibit, talent, are as talented as James Pierce would have an opportunity to do. He's very, very young and making this kind of, this type of mistake. And I don't even want to say that's a mistake. That's just a lot of bad choices, bad, dangerous choices. He could have hurt this young lady more than he did. And he could have also hurt himself. He could have hurt other people, because when he was approached by the police, he ran and crashed his car. So it's just a lot of really, really a series of bad decisions and choices that ultimately will affect his career in one way or another.
This young man needs prayer. I'm going to start there, right? I don't know him. I don't know her. They're obviously a young couple. And this is bad for our community on a whole, because, we raise our children the best way we can. They go through schooling. He went to college, obviously. So he has education. He's not stupid. He's not, he didn't have if he had a struggling background from parents, whatever, fine, I get that. But you went to college. You had coaches that coached you along the way. I'm sure she did too. And then you get to the league where you're making an astronomical amount of money, right? Contract-wise, you reached the pinnacle of your career where you were trying to get to from a child. Again, there are only about 500 football players. So for you to make it in the league and get there, it shows that you've sustained the test of times to make it in this place. Mm-hmm. And now for this to happen emotionally, something wasn't there. I don't know how old this gentleman is. How old is he? 20-something? 20?
Yeah, his early 20s.
Yeah, he's not mature enough, but emotionally, something happened between her and him, I'm sure. And he doesn't have that part in check. And now you're going to throw away the rest of your life, because if he didn't have money and the league behind him, let's just say he was a regular guy on the street, he would have been locked up for who knows how long.
That's true.
And what happens is when you don't have the money to representation, this follows you for the rest of your life. Now, fortunately, he does have some money and representation and people around him. So he can pay the fine, which is, just say it's $20,000. He can continue on in the league, and he can have money if the league kicks him out or his career is over.
Falcons let him go. We don't know what they're going to do.
But even if the Falcons let him go, he still have resources to have a sustainable life. Facts. If you were a young man who didn't have any type of league or money or representation, you would have had court cases. You would have been in jail. Then stuff happens in jail, and then you do other things. You do other things in your life to make more wrong decisions, which will lead to more problems, and it's just a cycle and a snowball effect of changes. So fortunately, he does have the resources to help him at this point. So thoughts and prayers for him and her. I hope she's well and safe. But they shouldn't have been going through this. But again, a lot of times these things happen, and sometimes, let's be honest, sometimes people have the proper training, proper people around them. They just don't listen. Let's be honest. They have all this money. I'm him. They use the words, I'm him, I'm her, and I'll do whatever I want to do, and I'll crash out if I have to, and I'll pay the fine because I'm him. They need me. The league needs me. I'm him. And by the time you wake up next morning, you don't have a contract. The money that you signed wasn't guaranteed. You don't have the fans, and now you crashed out and you're burnt out and you're done. So a lot of times these young people, and I'll be honest, don't want to hear from older people, old
Or
man, old woman.
something different.
Exactly.
I saw last week I watched a comedy special with Bill Bellamy. And one of the things that he, I think comedians are amazing because they joke about things that are actually very true, right? They usually they offer us a mirror into what our culture is experiencing. But one of the things that he said is that men are not taught to deal with their emotions. And so very early age. And so a lot of times when you get a young man who is he's getting all this money, he's being, celebrated on a national scale. And then something happens that, with a woman, usually it's unfortunately, it's a woman, cannot control his emotions and he acts out. But he was just saying that across the board, men are not taught to be emotionally intelligent. They're just not taught, and they usually can't. A lot of times they can't control their emotions, and being able to manage, navigate, and control your emotions is very important to maturity. It's a very important piece of maturity. And a lot of times when you don't have that teaching or training, you are destined to crash out. And that's what, when I listened to that last week and then I saw this happen, I was like, this is a good example of what he was talking about. He was joking and saying, if a man sees a woman doing something, he can't handle it. Women can go to their girlfriends or they're used to talking about it. Men often experience it, don't know what to do with this emotion, and it comes out through physical, in a physical way. And so I think this is, an example that we definitely need to be talking to young men. And the old ways of doing things where we allow women to be emotional and we say that men are not emotional is obviously not true, because all these situations of crashing out is a result of men being emotional and not knowing how to handle it. And so, like I said, prayers to this young man, but this is not something that is, we hear about these kind of situations all the time. It's very common. And I do think, to Bill Bellamy's comedic point, it is a result of us not holding men
space
for their emotions. We must teach them that it's healthy to talk about their emotions and to acknowledge having emotions. When you don't acknowledge that you have it, I don't care, and then something happens and you do care, and then you crash your car into her car and don't know how to, and then want to fight and don't know how to handle it. That's a problem. Not making excuses. I'm just sharing this. The back, sometimes what is the DNA of the problem? Because we see this happening to a lot of different men. And I think it happens with people that are not in the spotlight, but the people that are in the spotlight have so much more access and so much more, so it doesn't, they're not held accountable for a lot longer than the average guy does. The average guy does this at 16, he goes to jail. You may not hear from him again. Celebrity or athlete can do this numerous times and they can pay their way out of it. They can get their way out of it because of their talent. But the root problem is the same across the board. And so I do think that's something that we need to pay attention to as we're, looking at our young men. Lastly, because we've gone way over today, but it's okay.
Way over.
Super Bowl, mostly, but we have a wonderful announcement to make. We are excited. Lenox and Parker is proud to be sponsoring the Pan-African Film Festival's Soul Comedy Night, hosted by comedian Tony Rock and celebrating comedic Black excellence. The event honors the 2026 premiere cover girl for Lenox and Parker, Daphne Springs, who is I think that she's like the next queen of comedy. She's queen of comedy next. This show features comedy legends Tommy Davidson and Finesse Mitchell. It will combine laughter, history, and cultural legacy in one unforgettable night. And like I said, we are excited to be presenting Daphne Springs with her Lenox and Parker cover. We hope that you guys will stay tuned to the website for more information on that. But we are honoring her for representing innovation, humor, and Black excellence. Her recognition at this festival underscores the intersection of comedy and cultural influence. So Lenox and Parker will be there. That event is happening on Wednesday, February 11th. So we will have more about that on Friday. Of course, we'll have some exclusive clips and everything from that. But we will be there, and I'm excited to celebrate. Really excited to be able to honor Daphne, but also, I mean, the legendary Tommy Davidson, just part of that old school comic legacy, and then also Tony Rock. You know, I love Tony Rock. He is like the I'm a big fan. I think Chris Rock is my favorite comedian, but Tony Rock is like the more relatable version of Chris
the Rocks. Yeah.
Because Chris Rock is that intellectual, like, I've been having money for years and years and years. I've been a huge superstar, and Tony is like the relatable. We feel Tony Rock, you know. We definitely
my little bro. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. So we're honored to be a part of that, and like I said, definitely stay tuned to the website so you can see some exclusive behind the scenes from that event, and also from us being able to honor Daphne.
Yeah, comedy is something in our community that we all have in our family. We have comedic people in our families, and laughter is the best medicine. And a lot of times, our comedians are the ones that we look to when we have a bad day, or we have days like, you know, what we're living right now. When I say days, I mean, you know, times that we're in. And they're the ones that can express for us how we're feeling and give us a chance to breathe and just enjoy life more from laughing at stuff that we want to cry about. You know, so this is going to be good. And then also that it's going to be at the Pan-African Film Festival.
Yes.
Which is amazing. Yeah.
It is a great film festival because there are films, a lot of independent films from across the country. Obviously, most of them are Black or African in origin, but it's a great place. I saw somebody talking about London Brown. You know what, London Brown? I remember, we all know him from the 50 Cent's Kanan series. He was one of the Uncle Marvin in the Kanan series. I saw that people talking about Brown. But yeah, it is a great film festival, and we are just honored and excited to be participating in that film festival. We look forward to being a part of more events that celebrate and honor our culture in its entirety, as we always say.
Yes.
So, you know what, with that said, if you guys have comments specifically on everything that we talked about for the Super Bowl, I know that we have a great article that Victor has done on the halftime performance. We know that's going to be trending for the next couple of days. Please go to the site. Please visit www.lenoxandparker.com. Make sure that you subscribe so you can keep up to date with everything that we have going on. The context after the context is on the website.
Yes.
And so we look forward to welcoming you as a part of the Lenox and Parker family. If you're not subscribed here on YouTube or Instagram, please make sure that you're following our pages on both Instagram and YouTube. And also, like I said, on the website, subscribe to get our newsletter. We look forward to being a part of your extended family.
Yes, over here on the West Coast, we appreciate you guys, and I want everyone to go out and call their loved ones, go outside, get some fresh air, enjoy the day, turn off social media, even if it's for an hour or two, unplug. Again, I always tell people unplug, go out, take a walk, go for a walk, exercise, drink some water, you know. Breathe, inhale, meditate. We need to at this time of our lives. We need to do it. So enjoy your day. Thank you all for joining us, for tuning in, for signing up, for everything you're listening on the rerun on the podcast. Thank you guys.
Yeah, and we will see you guys on Wednesday, as always, 12 o'clock on the East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West. We'll be back on Wednesday. You guys be safe.
Peace out.
It's 12 noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West.
And this is Reprint.
This isn't breaking headlines. This is a second look with context added for perspective.
This is Reprint, edited after the headlines.